Mr. Mayor, members of Council, I find myself back here at the podium, as I was a few months ago, arguing that we not raid the tourism piggy bank to pay for shortfalls in our capital program. And just as we argued before, the argument will be the same, and that is, I think the voters were explicit and unmistakable in what they wanted us to do with tourism capital programs. I know why we're doing it. We're doing it because the voters voted down the capital bond program that we put before them last year. We probably have all of ourselves to blame for that, for not communicating to them better what the needs were. But now we find ourselves short of a little money to build a piece of public art to go with the Tony Nelson Equestrian Center. And one caption in the council report, which I'd read to you, is that using bed tax carryover funds from the Tourism Development Fund is consistent with the original intent of funding. I could not disagree more. Most of you were here when we did the original funding for the Tony Nelson Equestrian Center, and we said explicitly that we were going to dedicate 2 blocks of money, $1.2 million, for MPC bond funding and financing for this project. That will be less than a third of the total funding for the project. So the tourism was not doing it entirely. It was not doing it solely. It was not even doing it in the majority. The slide gave reasons of why we need to do this. One is so we can accelerate the public art project. I don't understand that that's a compelling reason to go raid money out of the Tourism Development Fund. They said that the anticipated funds remaining at the end of the project would be probably $260 million or $260,000. And we are then led to believe that just wait and we'll repay this money. It's only a matter of time. I would urge you not to believe that. This project, I would remind you, is the most overspent, overrun, miscalculated project that probably any council in the history of Scottsdale has ever dealt with. You saw the numbers up there. It started out at $40-some million, went up by 10% when we realized we needed a second floor on the North Hall. Went up by another 10% when we realized we needed to pave so people could park. And then it included a sentence that will replace tourism funds, parentheses, debt support for MPC bonds, with tourism funds, parentheses, carryover bed tax. I can't even parse the sentence, but I would urge you not to accept that as a reason. The tourism dollars are not intended to fund public art. This is a dangerous precedent. They're not intended to cover project cost overruns. It was a finite $1.2 million commitment. They're not intended to cover pledges of other third parties that we have yet to realize. And they're not to recover from misrepresentations. The tent has never been sold. The basin management funds have never been released. Third parties, to my awareness, have never committed to participate in this funding. I would urge you, as I did a few months ago, hold someone accountable for this project, but do not take money from the Tourism Development Fund. Thank you.
Thank you.